Hey there, podcast listeners, and welcome to the Principled Uncertainty podcast. I am your host, Tyler, and joining me tonight is Tommy.
Greetings. I thought I'd start with a little rolling R.
It's always good. Is there a technical linguistic term for a rolling R?
I think that's it. It's just rolling your R.
I thought you would you majored in linguistics. I thought you might have some interesting term for it.
It's called rolling dirty.
Rolling dirty. They're gonna catch me.
Rolling dirty.
You can find us online at PUPodcast on Twitter. Elsewhere, we are at the Principled Uncertainty Podcast. Don't forget to email us at principledu@gmail.com. Still no emails this week, but we're still looking for those. But otherwise,
right, it's a golf score.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking as close to zero as we can. +1, -1. Otherwise, rate and review the podcast on iTunes so we can climb the ranks of all the millions and millions of podcasts that are out there, so that we can jump up. How are you doing tonight, Tommy?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm not crunching on a pickle.
Wow, sounds suspicious, but I have no reason to believe you now.
Totally out of context. That would sound creepy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm curious why you'd bring it up.
So, anything interesting going on in your life?
Well, the pickle that I have been crunching on pre-show is causing me a lot of throat clearing. So if I'm suddenly muted for a long period of time, that's what's happening.
That's fine. Excellent.
The other side is that I got a little gravelly voice. Gravelly.
We learned a lesson this week in podcasting. Don't eat pickles directly before a podcast.
Or into a mic of any sort.
Yeah. No, it sounded like you had cracked a tibia.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty heavy crunch.
That happened at the same time.
So let's jump right into what we've been playing, and I think right at the top I probably think we can talk about Destiny again this week.
Sure.
Because I've played it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Woo.
Yay.
What did you think?
I only put 2 hours into it, but I really super liked it.
And how much Halo do you have for reference? Not that that's the only frame of reference.
Almost none. In hearing other people talk about that game, I think that it actually benefits me that I haven't played that much Halo, because everything still feels fresh. I think it's kind of neat. It feels a lot like Borderlands to me, rather than Halo, because I didn't play that much Halo. I played the first Halo, but that was like 2001, 2002 maybe. Right, that's a long time ago.
Early 90s, maybe.
Yeah, I
don't know.
It was the B-side to Pac-Man. So
you flip Pac-Man over.
Yeah, you just turn Pac-Man around, and it's Halo. And I don't have that much of a reference to it historically, so I really enjoyed it. And I guess Halo has some pretty tight shooting, and that's what it's well known for. But man, I was super impressed with how the guns play.
Really? Yeah.
Totally loved it. So I've only put a couple hours in, but I could definitely see how that game could be super fun.
What class did you choose?
I chose the Titan.
Titan.
Yeah, I figure since I'm such a noob to Bungie gaming in particular, I was like, I'll just pick the standard class. I didn't want to do sniper. I think I read an article online that said the sniper class, which is called the hunter. Maybe what is that class called?
Yeah, there's a hunter, and really any of them I think can be the sniper class if you prefer, because there's no specific weapons that only one class can use or anything like that. But
in Borderlands, it's these certain people have more snipery characteristics. So
right.
Sorry.
Wait, you sound like you're eating a pickle over there.
I accidentally sucked water down my throat. So this is live. This is not coming out. So at playing Borderlands, the first time I played through, I played a soldier, but I became so enamored with sniper rifles that's what I found myself picking up a lot. So I might end up doing that here too. I just wanted to pick a basic class.
Precision. Yeah.
So
it lets you get into that stuff, and it seems like the hunter is a good choice for those kind of precision type things, because I think their super kind of moves are precision based and more skill based than your Titan, where you just slam down on the ground and everybody gets blowed up.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat game so far.
Yeah.
I've only put a couple hours in though, and people have talked about it being repetitive, but I mean, most games like this are pretty repetitive.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of a funny arc because Bungie Halo 1 was really kind of put to the I guess held their feet to the fire because of some of the levels they had to kind of double up on in a way. They would you'd get to the end and they'd say, "All right, go back to the beginning," because they just kind of needed to squeeze more game time out of the campaign.
I think that's why I quit playing the first Halo. Was I went through this really long level and then it
Yep.
said, "Okay, go back where you came from." I was like, turned off.
Ah.
I'm done.
Well, there's none of that exactly, but there is a weird kind of repetition in the mission rhythm of this game because like for 3 or 4 missions in a row, you might start in the same place, like exactly the same place, and go through the same route, and then it'll change a little, later on. So I'd like to hear your thoughts as you get, farther and do more stuff over and over.
Yeah, I could see the repetition becoming a problem, but right now the combat is so tight in that game
Sure.
that
And
it's pretty like my favorite aspect of the combat so far is melee.
yeah,
Walking up and just punching dudes is amazing.
yes.
So
That's
I'm on the upper end of level 2, but I'm still only level 2, so I've only put like 2 hours in it.
awesome.
But
Hey,
it's
it
really
counts.
good. It's really great so far. I like the user like the UI stuff that's in the game and the HUD and
Yeah.
all of that seems like really streamlined. I don't know, was that
Yes.
present in previous like in Halo games?
Less so the further you go back, and you can kind of, if you look at them each, game by game, you can see Bungie learning their lessons and taking up less screen real estate, I guess. And in this one, you can even in Destiny, you can even see these things kind of being dynamic, like they'll disappear if not needed at the time. So like your health bar is just nowhere to be seen. I think that may have been a Halo development, but it's not there until it matters, until you're getting hit.
The only thing that bothers me so far, and my only real gripe with the game so far, is that I get lost really easily. I don't know if that's just I get lost really easily in life because I'm in Russia and there's a place I need to go and the icon shows up, but I will go in that direction and then hit a dead end and not know exactly where to go. Have you run into any of that yet? Or
Yeah, a little bit, and part of that is that it's sort of an MMO setup, but there's no map
right?
that you can check. And the other is that they're sort of nav points that they place where
Yeah, that's that's the word I was looking for. Was like
it's
navigation
always
points.
right. It's pointing to the next place as part of that path, like the next node in that path, instead of directly at the thing. So if you pass the turn, it's like pointing the other way, and you're like, wait a second, what? Where am I supposed to go?
And that's I mean that's sort of confusing.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know quite where to go. And I mean, but other than that, I don't have anything critical to say so far. I've sort of read some of the reviews and listened to the Giant Bomb cast talk about it. I mean, this week's episode, what was funny about this week's episode was that they talked about Destiny for a really long time, and then they said, "Okay, let's stop talking about Destiny." And then they started talking about the Xbox, and then immediately started talking about Destiny again. So
Yeah.
they're really like people are really conflicted about that game.
It's weird. It doesn't have that, like, the first 8 to 10 hours of playing that game isn't like play through this amazing story and then I'll play, multiplayer. It's like the I don't know, the rhythm's just a little different, and it's just like missions and then another mission and then another mission, and there's just almost no story in it at all. Like it's almost awkward when they break out these really cool cutscenes later on in the game. You're like, what? Where were you? Who are these
Where was
people?
this 6 hours ago?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm interested. I picked it up at Redbox, so I'm not actually like I haven't bought it. I don't have it via GameFly though. I think I'm going to get it now, just so I can play. Like I'm so interested in this game, and the reviews are so back and forth about it that that's what's drawn me in to play it. So it's not the hype. It's not people saying this game's amazing. It's the sort of like people seem to either want to love it or are confused by this game, and like I find that so fascinating that people are just flummoxed by what to think about Destiny, and I love that. Like that seems to be something interesting.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly right. And a lot of the things they were saying on the aforementioned podcast that you said were really sort of exactly what I experienced too. Like just sort of the same beats along the single player. I
So
haven't
have
done
you reached a
any
point?
of the multiplayer yet, or excuse me, the PvP, because it's all multiplayer, isn't it?
Yeah, it all is co-op or what. But have you? Where do you rank among? Let's use the Giant Bombcast as a continuum. If Jeff Gersman is the most critical of it, and like Brad is kind of in the middle slash where Drew is on the other side of it, like
Right.
where do you fall? I mean, because even like Brad is the biggest proponent of the game, and yet he still does not disagree with Jeff's assessment of the problems. Like, where do you fall on it so far? Like, how much time have you put into it, and how do you feel about the reviews and what people are saying?
That's I'm not sure. I probably I'm more Brad level. But so I got to 20, which is the sort of base level cap, but you can get past that with armor. So now it's time to farm armor or whatever, and that will let you raise your level cap further to, like, I don't know, the mid to upper 20s or something like that. I've seen like 26 is the highest I've seen.
Okay.
But it's all sort of MMO stuff now. So it's all like raids and sort of 3-man strikes and just do them over and over and do variations on them, which is fun. But I don't know. It's just different.
How much of that stuff have you done? The raids?
Almost none. They just opened up raids today, which is, I think, the super hard, like 5 or 6-man thing. Or maybe that was yesterday or something. I don't know. But I haven't done any of that, and I've only done a couple of strikes. And strikes themselves are pretty fun. I actually had 2 strike missions. They're 3-man missions, and they do have matchmaking for you, so you can get in there with some random dudes or ladies. And
of course,
if somebody leaves, nobody else drops in, so it's just the 2 of you.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, except that the 2 strikes I did, that happened, and me and the other guy totally blew through it. It was great. And it had an epic dance party at the end.
That's awesome. Is it a game where will you have to get most of the loot drops for the leveling up from here on out? Will you have to get that from the raids and stuff? I
think so. And I haven't been real good about figuring out, okay, I need to farm this here and this there and coins and moats and this and that. I'm honestly pretty confused about it, but that's sort of that's the MMO aspect of the game for me, I think.
It's weird the way people are framing this, because when people talk about Destiny and they say that it's really repetitive and you do a lot of the same missions and it's online, just sort of co-op or PvP, that sort of thing. It's weird because so many games that are uber popular are not story driven and yet are just online multiplayer driven, like Call of Duty. And if Destiny is going to be a Call of Duty level game, it certainly needs to have a multiplayer that people are rabid about. And is what is the thing that is keeping people from enjoying it? Or has the overall criticism that it's not varied enough, has that just sort of seeped into the mainstream consciousness about how they feel about the game?
I think people's biggest hang-ups, so the thing that keeps Call of Duty alive is, for the most part, the competitive online, PvP stuff. And that's saying that as someone who has literally never played Call of Duty even once, ever. And so
I played it once with my nephews, and they murdered me a lot.
Awesome.
They were 17.
So a panel of experts here.
Yeah, they were 17, and they murdered me a lot.
So what I think is really, and Destiny has that. It has the PvP, with different playlists and stuff. And that has kept previous Halo games alive for long after the release of the game. But this thing, I think the biggest hang up for people is this weird first experience where there's not this normal kind of story with characters and an actual
arc.
plot.
Yeah.
It's just you go to this place and now you go to this place, and wouldn't you know it, you get your ghost out and you defend for a minute, sort of over and over with no characters.
Do you think the game would be more successful if it were more sort of bifurcated? Here is the story, and here is the multiplayer.
I mean, that stuff is, I mean, the PvP multiplayer is pretty concisely split apart. You know, it's discrete from the rest of the game. And the only sort of multiplayer aspect of, if you want to play it as a single player campaign, you're just going to see other people walking around and dancing. You know, like that'll be the main difference besides the no story whatsoever.
So why that, like, but we don't have to dig in on the topic, but it is interesting the way people are thinking about this. You know, the way people are thinking, like, it is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's totally weird. And the game is weird. It's weird. It just feels so strange.
It is weird. Like the whole conversation surrounding this game is so bizarre because people can't quite figure out. I mean, even the Giant Bombcast, they keep talking about things they don't like, and yet they want to go home and play more of it, which is so bizarre.
Right. It's kind of having the dual effect on you of like I gotta understand you, and I kind of want to get addicted to you, but I want to figure out what's going on.
Like, I don't like you, but I want to date you a little. Like,
give me your loot and explain yourself.
It's weird because I'm going back through the old Giant Bomb catalog and I'm starting from the beginning and listening. And I'm currently, I'm currently in like August of 2008, where I don't know if you remember a game called Too Human.
Yep.
Okay. That game got released and nearly identical things were said about Too Human that are being said about Destiny. It's weird.
That is not a positive outlook for this game then, if it's going to follow along the lines of Too Human. Too Human, the planned trilogy, the first of 3.
That got pulled from shelves for Dennis Dyack and company being sued for their weird stuff. Like, that game's so rare.
Such a cool idea too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to.
Well, the thing.
Pour one out.
Jeff, what's weird is Jeff's review was basically, I finished it. I don't like it very much, but I keep playing it, and I want to see what they would do with a sequel. And that is almost the exact same narrative that is being put forward with Destiny. Like the almost exact same narrative.
This is I guess what happens when people take the risk of having a big name new IP.
Yeah. Well, they didn't really know. I guess they knew what they wanted to do with it, but I mean, one cannot help but be influenced by the hype when the hype is this will be a 10-year series. Like that's been floating around for 6 months, 8 months, 10 months now. Like Destiny is going to be a thing, a fixture in the gaming industry. And now that seems like way less certain. Even though that game has done like gangbusters over the last week, the future is still uncertain based on how people feel about it, it seems.
Right.
Or do you think it doesn't matter? Like that game's made so much money, who cares? They'll be able to iterate on
it. But it's also possible that the kind of this whole rating aspect combined with the PvP playlists will entertain people kind of more so than previous. Mm-hmm. And so who knows? Like they people seem to be digging it. Like they just opened up raids, and there was this big hubbub around the first crew to clear the raid. It took them 10 hours. So no small endeavor.
Whoa.
Yeah, very, very high barrier to entry. You have to be like 26 or something. I don't even know how to get to be 26 right now.
Not have a job.
There's that.
Play the game all day.
I mean, I haven't even seen any of the stuff that lets you become 26. You like higher than 20. So yeah, it's going to be crazy. And I think there's a challenge, a sort of challenge aspect that people will bite as a bait,
Like someone on Kotaku today said that it's weird that they're already talking about paid content, and the content that's already there is kind of underwhelming because other games have done it better, where they were released with underwhelming content and have been giving away really interesting free content. And the game they mentioned was Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, which which I think has had some pretty great updates recently, like adding free maps and like new character types and skins and things that are just kind of like keeping that game. Like, I won't talk about that game anymore, but it's so weird that game is a thing.
Yeah. So what did they add to PvZ that people are eating up?
I mean they've just been adding new abilities, character skins, and maps, and it's really great. I mean, that game is just continually. a fixture. I mean, whenever I have like just an hour to sit down and play, I will play 3 or 4 or 5, 6 games. I mean, because an average match only takes about 8 minutes, so you can sit down and play a couple and then get up and move around, and it's awesome. So just the Team Vanquish stuff on there is so great. Like the team based stuff is so fantastic.
Nice.
But anyway, what else are you playing? Are you playing some? Are you still playing Diablo?
Yes. Durarblo.
Free. So, any new developments in the game, or is it still just awesome?
Not really. The sort of parallel to the Destiny thing. The end game here is on Diablo. I've just like gotten to the level cap, and then what you do after that, and it's so time consuming. It's insane. Yeah. So to get anything worthwhile out of it is, you got to be like buckled in. So that's really all I had to say about that. I was having a blast with it. It's so much more to get out of it. Yeah,
I think I'm level 8 or 9 maybe, and I hit my first actual like difficult moment the other night. I was in a dungeon where there were people in a circle surrounding a warrior and shooting lightning at him, and I had to fight them, and they were skeleton people who were creating other skeleton people that I had to fight, so I had to like track them down and kill them so that they would stop spawning skeleton people, and that was really super tough.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's really hard.
in
so
Diablo,
I'm still pretty early. Yeah,
I think the rule of thumb is if it gets too much heat, just like run the other way and come back.
Yeah, that's what I had to do because I didn't realize at first that when your health potions have a recharge.
Yes.
They have to reheat a little bit. So
yes, we all make that discovery in a very negative sense.
Yes, it was not good, but that game's fantastic. That's faint praise, but it is. I've been sort of like varying some game. I'm finally getting into my Steam library a little bit, and so I played some Typing of the Dead Overkill the other night.
Yeah,
that game's. Have you played that?
No, I played House of the Dead Overkill, and on the Wii with little light gun attachments for the Wiimotes. We had a blast with that. That game. We were laughing our asses off through that entire game.
It's ridiculous. And Typing of the Dead kind of is an exploitation movie. I didn't play House of the Dead Overkill, but Typing of the Dead is framed like a 1970s exploitation movie. Like if you saw Planet Terror or Death Proof, it's kind of like that.
And it was around that time too, wasn't it? Like it was kind of around the Grindhouse, so it was probably some nod to that.
I don't know. I thought Typing of the Dead was fairly new. Maybe not. Maybe it's still a couple years.
Now, Typing of the Dead itself, not Overkill, is very old because we played that in college on the Dreamcast.
Yeah, Overkill is newer, I think.
Yeah. And House of the Dead Overkill is from a few years ago.
It's like 2008, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
But this, I mean, it's just a typing game, but it's super fun.
And it's the first of those House of the Dead games that like gets it. Like they finally understood what was funny about House of the Dead, that it was always so bad it's good.
Yeah, just ridiculous, just utterly ridiculous. The House of the Dead did what Resident Evil has never been able to do, which is like have a sense of humor about its ridiculousness.
Right, and sort of make fun of its disconnected sort of foreign origins, I guess.
Yeah, and I can't decide if Resident Evil would be better if it just like decided like, hey, fuck it, we're not serious, or if they just like cut off most of the narrative stuff. Like, this is all crazy. Let's do something a little more grounded.
Just go full campy.
Yeah, either go full campy or just have like a really tight story that's very well told, which they've never done. But at least with the first game, it was told in a house with some people and some zombies. And like now it's just, I mean, it is like soap opera level narrative.
Yeah.
So I played some of that. Typing games are fun. Just flat out fun. I love typing games, and Typing of the Dead is great. What was it like on the Dreamcast? Did you have a keyboard attachment?
Yeah, I don't even know how that worked now that I think of it. But like,
or did it just have like a USB port where you could plug in?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how it worked. It could have been. It could have been some.
It was magic. That wizard was from the moon.
Yeah, or magic. I know. All I know is I had taken a typing class in college, and like I became this like absurdly fast typer, and so I was dominating everyone except for the people in our dorm who regularly typed in leet speak and could quickly reach the shift symbols above the numbers. So
Whoa.
that was my downfall, and then that was where they could, leave in the dust.
I would love to see that. That's crazy. I just briefly I want to say that Valiant Hearts is 50% off, so I'm glad I haven't bought it until now. I bought it today. So for next week, I hope to have finished Valiant Hearts, and it's World War I story. Yeah. It's, the story that never gets old, World War I.
Doggies and World War I.
Dogs and mustard gas and
trench warfare.
Yeah. And so it'll be interesting. I'm glad, though. I've heard nothing but good things about that game.
Yeah, it looks really great.
And I also have Wolfenstein, the new Wolfenstein, coming to me via. I've played a little, but I have it coming to me via GameFly. So I will have like inverse, like one is World War II-ish and one is World War I, and the tone could not be more vastly different in those two things.
Yep, polar opposites.
So $750 for Valiant Heart seems like a steal.
Yeah.
I also plan on buying Double Fine's new game. Hack and Slash is coming out of beta or out of alpha into beta. Yeah. And also Invisible Ink, the new Clay game, is in early access. I also plan on playing that.
I don't know anything about that.
It's have you played other Clay games like Don't Starve? I put 100 hours into.
Oh, no, I didn't play Don't Starve. I'm aware of it.
That game, whoa.
Yeah. That seems to be the consensus from people who have played it.
I had to stop. I had to force myself to stop playing it.
Yeah.
Because I was obsessed with it. It's from what I understand, it is a turn-based strategy game from Clay. A la, it looks kind of like XCOM in a way, but it's about spies. So they have made some really interesting games. Not ones that have always worked, but Mark of the Ninja was amazing. Don't Starve was great.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Shank
was in which I haven't played, but it's on my Steam library. It's downloaded. I just haven't played it. They've made every game they make feels different, and I love that about them, that they're able to sort of take a genre and then make something really weird and cool in that genre.
Yeah, that's a rare ability to make stuff that's good in
different. Yeah, so I hope to play one of those games next week for next week's podcast.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's on the horizon. I also played a little bit of Minecraft to make a segue.
I've heard of it.
Have you played any Minecraft?
I've played a lot of Minecraft.
Have you?
Yeah.
So you can talk about it. Okay.
And fortunately, I played it over my different area. Oh God. Okay, so that's how much I played. Is I don't even know where to start. You know what I mean? I first started playing it when it was still in alpha, so I paid my way in forever on PC. But
so you have cred, like you have street cred as far as Minecraft goes.
I don't mean to brag, but I was playing Minecraft before there were fences in Minecraft. So
I don't even know what that means.
That's how they iterated on it. They didn't improve like graphical fidelity or anything like that. They made fences or like different recipes to make stuff, And
Don't Starve is the exact same way.
Yeah, I got the sense that there was a similar kind of survival type thing, except that Minecraft sort of it stops being hard to survive after a short amount of time. After the first night. So anyway,
Don't Starve is the opposite of that. That game is constantly fucking with you.
Just gets worse as it goes on.
At a certain point, if you live long enough and don't starve, like one of the functions, just like in Minecraft, is chopping down trees. There's like a monster tree boss that, like, if you start chopping down too many trees, which like that's one of the things you have to do to survive is chop down trees and make things. If you chop down the wrong tree, a tree monster will appear and kill you. The number of, like, if it can move, it can kill you in that game. It's crazy.
Right.
But so what drew you to Minecraft? Like what?
Well, people talking about it.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, and I was, you gotta play this Minecraft, gotta get up on that. And I was like, that sounds silly. And so I tried it out and I was like, this is just why am I punching this tree? Oh.
Just like,
yeah. And then
it was kind of like a Clockwork Orange moment where you're like,
Precisely. And so I painted my eye, just one eye, and then I put a hat on. Yeah, no, I mean, the game is so unique for, at least it was, at the time. And then I sort of fell off, and then I came back to it again, later after they developed a lot of stuff. And then I came back to it again after they released it on consoles. And, it was a very different game by that point.
Like, I played an hour of it, so I don't have a frame of like I wanted to play it so I could say I had a moment with it to see like
Right.
what having played so much Don't Starve, I see the allure. Like I see what's good about it.
Right.
It's another it right now my gaming time is so limited that it's not a game where I want to learn the systems right now. Like I don't have time to put into to sort of learn the systems and what I need to do in order to be able to like every time I die iterate so that I do it better.
And they're super, super deep too, because it's just long like lists of recipes, and if you do this and you can do that. And it's not, and I don't mean for that to sound tedious, because discovering those things is really interesting. You're like, oh, so that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It follows a sort of, not math exactly, but just an equation. Like if you to make a pick, you put sticks in the shape of a handle, and then you put metal or something in the shape of a pick, and you're like, oh, bam, a pick. I'm gonna go pick some stuff, I guess.
So the difference between Minecraft and say Don't Starve is that in Minecraft you're not told what the recipes all are.
They, I relied on the internet for that stuff for the most part. I think they prompt you a little bit for the, the bare necessities, like, shovels or an oven or kiln or whatever it is. And other than that, you sort of have to go find out. I think there may actually be at this point like some kind of built-in, I don't know, recipe or whatever schematics system.
It's weird. Like it's weird to see how. I mean, when I first heard about it, I thought it was. I was astounded that it was popular because it sort of flies in the face of like a game being this popular and also flying in the face of what is normally popular with gamers is so weird.
Right.
And it seems to be like the thing that separates Minecraft for me is something that very clearly separates my mindset and generational thinking with gaming with the like maybe even 2 generations after us gaming wise.
Sure. Yeah, and it's been popular for so long that people our age, our generation play it, and now people our generation, their kids play it. It's sort of like they grew up with it.
Right.
So, and it's just a totally different type of thing. Like the game itself, it's not, a death match or whatever, any kind of specific type of game that's really popular, first person shooter, whatever. Like you can take it either way. You can take it as a building game, or you can take it as a sort of adventure game, or like now there are RPG things in it. There's a hunger system. It can be a survival thing for you if you want it to be that way. Like it's just so weird. Like there are no like goals. There's no, well, there actually is an end boss, but
that like, seems like totally irrelevant.
Right. Yeah. Like I'll never find it.
Yeah. When I played Don't Starve, like it was about, hello?
I'm here.
Sorry. Things dropped out for a second.
Oh, I started drinking a drink, so I muted myself.
Yeah. Everything went away. Like sound completely went away. It's fine. That game is all about the moment, and I only had momentary goals and building up to longer goals like with each death. And so that game is iterative in that the people who designed it made it iterative, but also the way one plays it is iterative, and like it's almost as though you were designing within the game as well. And it's so weird in that way, and it's not entirely dissimilar from playing a multiplayer shooter in that it's about short bursts of activity from which you will learn how to survive for longer. It's just the method with which you like interact with the world is entirely different.
Exactly. You're kind of increasing the scale of what you have and what you have sort of dominion over, like
right.
what is safe for you to do. And yeah, it's a pretty exhilarating feeling because you start the game with, thank God I have a hole and a torch. I'll be safe for the night. And then, after that, day 2, day 7, whatever, you're like standing on top of this like small dirt castle and then just go from there. Penny Arcade had the best description of Minecraft when it was sort of first becoming popular. And it was just this great 3-panel thing, which I won't pretend to or attempt to recreate. But definitely Google that Penny Arcade Minecraft.
What's the basic tenet of it though? Like, what's its idea?
I mean, they've always committed to the 3-panel formula. So like the first panel is like him cowering in fear while, in the darkness while there are a bunch of zombies and spiders outside, and he's like, oh God, no. And then the second thing is he's I don't know, he's building stuff or something, just building some kind of meager, castle where he's safe.
Right.
And then the last one, he's like on top of some huge fortress wearing a crown and like a, kingly cape or something. He's like, ha ha.
And I totally understand the allure of that, especially for younger people who, like, for me, it was building sand castles in my front yard, like in the driveway, digging holes and putting Matchbox cars in it.
Yeah.
And this is no different. It is the sense of adventure that comes with it. It's just what's weird is the sense of adventure and imagination is built into the game itself rather than like, and I'm sure like you can build narrative within your own mind as you play it. It's just things have shifted. And for me, Minecraft is almost like World of Warcraft without combat, like without a lot of combat at the very least. Like it's a sense of exploration and leveling up if you are good at it. Like you level up by creating instead of like some arbitrary number system.
Well, you used to. Actually, now you level up, I think.
Yeah.
I think there is an experience thing there as well. And like, like alchemy and crafting and things like actual RPG elements and stuff.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, seriously, that's how fast it changed.
Wow, that's so strange.
And the weird thing about its footprint now, which is just so huge, like it's like it sort of exists in these different states on different platforms, but on a hojillion different platforms.
Yeah,
like
all of the platforms.
Now. Yeah, and I don't really think I get it as far as mobile, but evidently it's huge. It's so big that like at one point when it was all over mobile, like 90% of those things were Minecraft ripoffs that were meant to evoke Minecraft just by glancing at it in the App Store. And now like 90% of that stuff is legit. Like it's like actual licensed versions or just spin-offs or whatever. Can't really speak to it any more intelligently than that because I haven't looked at any of them. But I mean,
it's so weird.
Everywhere.
I mean, it is a phenomenon beyond any phenomenon.
Definitely.
And I mean, and obviously they got bought. Like we are not here to report the news. Like we're not breaking. We're not reporting the news here. But it is interesting that Microsoft spent $2.5 billion on a company that on an idea of a thing, because obviously Notch and the other like main creators left, but there's still Minecraft. There's still all of that there to build something on. It's just what will that thing be is the big question. Like, do you have any idea like where they can take this franchise as I mean, it feels like Minecraft has been done. Like where do they take this now?
Who knows? All I know is they keep on making these like acquisitions where like something has just been released on is on a competitor's platform. So I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Like the PS3 version of Minecraft just came out.
Yeah.
And now.
Yeah, exactly. And then so we'll see what happens with that. But I don't know. Maybe nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just don't. I guess like how do they recoup $2.5 billion on this?
Sure.
On this. I mean, I guess there's just so much stuff out there. Like this, it's got to be a long buy. Whoever. Like when this happened, they had to have been thinking really long term on Minecraft and the idea of Minecraft as this generation's World of Warcraft. Like, Blizzard made boats and boats and boats of money.
Right.
So I guess whoever at Microsoft someone has the insight that, this is this generation's WoW. So we're going to do this.
It doesn't show any signs of slowing down,
None whatsoever. I mean, kids who are 7 and 8 and 10 years old especially are just obsessed with Minecraft.
Right.
It's just what the tastes of that like age group are so fickle. It's just I wonder, what happens when they turn 13 or 14 or 15? Like I guess that's still some time in the future, but I don't know. I mean, Minecraft is
Tyler, your voice starts changing.
Yeah. You start to notice these things called girls and you put away video games. Done.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Like, who knows? Notch will not be there. I understand that Minecraft is a huge property to buy, but if the guy who made it a thing are not there, it just seems so weird. Like, I understand, and I also understand that the people who are developing it now have been working on it largely, and the creators have not been working on it, but it's still bizarre. Like, it's still a bizarre thing.
It is very strange, and it's and I mean, on one end of the spectrum, it's it's kids and they're kind of semi-educational apps on their mobile devices, and the other end is like these very custom servers that people are paying to host and have their own rules, and everyone's different and just totally different experiences. So
I guess the moral is we'll see.
Yeah.
Or I guess
the
conclusion the only conclusion we can come to is we'll see.
Sure.
Let's do that. Well, let's do recommendations and get out of here. Tommy, have you thought of something in the last 50 or so minutes that that you can recommend to the public?
Heavy
sighing heavily.
Here, you do yours first, and maybe it'll give me a great idea.
Okay, I thought you had one. Okay.
No, you were saying something. Oh, you were saying something about pickles. And so I was like, oh, cool. Oh, no, you were ranting about boycotting Jimmy John's.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's my recommendation.
What?
A delicious sandwich shop called Jimmy John's.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? I guess
there's nothing else within.
Is it around everywhere? Is it a nationwide chain? Do you know? You're breaking up? Tommy? Jimmy John's is pulling you away from us. Oh my God, you sound like a robot.
Okay.
Oh God. This is definitely gonna have to be cut out. Okay, I can hear you now.
Oh, dang.
Oh, dang. So, is Jimmy John's a nationwide chain? Do you know?
I don't know how far they reach, but I know there's one up the street, and that's sort of where my interest ends. Also, their pickles.
They sound very crunchy, even crunchier than Vlasic, which are known to be crunchy. So, I'm going to recommend the Audible Daily Deal. Audible's not giving us any money. They seem to give every podcast. Like, I know that people are tired of hearing about Audible, but the Daily Deal really is an interesting thing because being able to get a full audiobook for $3 or $2 or $5 sometimes is an amazing deal. And they're not giving us money, but they should. And I have an Audible account, but most of the stuff that I buy is from this Daily Deal where every day they have one book. It's kind of like Woot, but for a book. And every day it's something interesting. Even if I don't want it, usually I'm like, whoa, that's an interesting book. And over the last month, I bought tons of interesting novels like 2001: A Space Odyssey. I got a cast recording of Neil Gaiman's novel Neverwhere, but it was done, and it's like really famous British actors who are performing it, which I'm not a fan of those generally, but this seems interesting. It's just I'm not sure if you have to have an Audible account to be able to do it, or if you can just like go and buy a book. I don't know why they make it exclusive to members, but it is super neat. And it's the first thing I check when I wake up every morning on my phone because they send the email like 4 a.m. So whenever I wake up, the first thing I do is check to see what the Audible Daily Deal is.
I might start checking that too. I've been on that same trip right now. So.
It's you can go to Audible and subscribe to it. So just subscribe to the Audible Daily Deal. You get an email every day. Whoosh, all you have to do is swipe your phone or just look at the email that pops up and boom. And if you're not interested, you can just go about your day. But $3 is like a crazy low amount for a book.
Yeah. I mean, $15 essentially, which is one credit, right? Like it's already pretty good for an audiobook. For
someone to read you an entire book. I know. Like Kings had people do that for them. Exactly. So I cannot say like speak highly enough of that. It's pretty amazing. So
nice.
But I think that'll do it this week. We talked a lot of Destiny over the last few weeks. Yeah. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, let's quit doing that. I'm just kidding. No. Let's pretend to quit doing that and then do it some more.
I'm gonna keep playing it. I think I'm gonna get it via. I think I'm gonna get it via GameFly.
Get it.
So, all right, for Tommy, I am Tyler, and we'll see you next week on the Principled Uncertainty podcast. We'll see you, Tommy.
Adios.